I'm back. Did you miss me? Welcome to Tell Me I'm Pretty, Please. I'm Shanah. Welcome back to the show. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Big shout out to my coworker and my psychiatrist who asked when the next episode's coming out. Nice to know I have a few fans. Um, where have I been the past couple of weeks? Mainly at my mom's. A lot of things are changing in my life, all really for the good, but I've had a lot of blow ups the past couple of weeks. I've had a friendship blow up. My living situation has completely changed. I'm still in my apartment. I just no longer have a roommate and kind of had to remodel. So that's why we have a whole new studio. It's really not new. It's just decorated differently. We're now in my living room instead of my sunroom. So we've had some changes. My job is changing next. We have Milo on the pod. He's come to say hello. Um, I'm feeling it sounds like it's a lot. It is a lot. Um, it has not been easy. It has been difficult. It has been emotional. But I actually feel incredibly good about it. I feel so good about it. Feel so good about the changes that are coming, the opportunities that are coming. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to jinx it. Um, but I do really feel like a lot of good is coming and a lot of good changes are coming for me. And it's the first time in a long time that I've really felt that way. It's feeling super transformative. And I have a lot of different experiences with life transitions, as we all have. And I've kind of come to categorize the feelings, I guess. I guess I've categorized the feelings. Milo, where are you going? Um, of of these feelings. So you have one type of transition, which is the transition I feel like I'm in right now, where I feel very calm, collected, confident, at peace about it, kind of excited though. Just really excited to see what's coming next, really just feeling like there's not a lot of work that I have to do, that everything is just happening organically. Then there's, those transitions that they feel a little more challenging. You're a little more anxious about them. It doesn't feel like something bad is necessarily going to happen. It's just incredibly challenging. Maybe you have to work extra hard to get what you want out of what it is that you are changing, what is changing in your life. And then the third one is like dread, like if you feel like something's not right for you. And my personal belief is like those feelings that you get, those gut feelings that you get, is the universe's way of telling you, of kind of warning you what this next chapter is going to be for you. Um, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today, really. I was really hemming and hawing over the topic for today, and just with everything going on in my world, I didn't want to get too heavy. I didn't really want to talk about what's going on in my world because, like, I don't know why I'm justifying any of this. I don't have to justify any of this for you. It's my podcast. I can do what I want to do. But yeah, I really think that I really want to talk about how these this realization of these different types of transitions have come to me, because I think it's kind of a wild ride. I'm very much one of those people, I'm very much one of those individuals who has always gotten what they wanted out of life. And I don't, and that sounds like such a brag, and I really kind of am bragging, but I feel like every single goal that I've ever gotten, everything I've put my mind to, I've done. I've never met a goal that I could not achieve. I've never met a mountain I could not climb type of thing. Um, And yeah, that I mean, I am bragging about that. That is a really cool trait of mine that I have. I've everything I've ever said I was going to do, I have done. Um, and a lot of them have been really cool things, and a lot of them have been really transformational and transformative things. And they've all kind of proven my theory of your gut feeling around a transition kind of telling you what that transition is going to do for you, what that transition means for your life in the long term. If you feel at peace, calm, excited, this next chapter of your life is probably going to be a time of rest for you, a time of just like joy, finally just getting what you deserve out of life, like your kind of karmic cycle of you've worked your ass off and killed yourself to get to where you are today. Here is your time of peace. Um, and I think you feel that in your gut. And that's what I'm feeling right now. And I think when you are going to find yourself in a place of necessary hardship, lessons, maybe a lot of hard relationships, a lot of money struggles, a lot of job struggles. Like it just feels like every time you succeed, you kind of like fall two steps back. Like you're not failing enough to feel like this is what's happening is wrong. It's just it's just hard enough to be challenging. And some days are harder than others, but you're really never fully out of like fight or flight mode. You're constantly kind of on for the whole world, and you feel kind of scattered and chaotic, but still things are fine. Um, because, and I say that because the last one is the dread. You feel dread. Nothing is going right. Everything is telling you to stop. It's not anything that you wanted. It's kind of almost something you're forcing. And it feels sticky. It feels dark. Um, it feels heavy in a way that like the challenging times don't. I think the challenging times have an equal balance of feeling good and feeling really hard, whereas the dread is just it's all bad. um Nothing goes right. But you almost feel stuck in it. The last time I felt as comfortable, as at ease, as trusting in like the universe as I do right now was when I was going into the Peace Corps. So if you don't know this, I was in the Peace Corps. That's where I met Svetlana, from our very first episode. One of my very best friends to this day. I'm actually going to her and her baby's baptism in a few weeks, so that's going to be so exciting. We will be seeing dunks as well. Peace Corps was something I have wanted to do for like ever, really. I mean, my mom puts the 8th grade as the marker in my life for when I really wanted to do it, but I think it was probably much earlier than that. Maybe I just didn't have a concept of what it was that I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to go and be immersed in a different culture for a period of time, and work within that community and become a community member, in some way, shape, or form. That's something I've always wanted to do. I love experiencing culture. I've always something along the lines of the Peace Corps was an experience I have wanted to have since I was a small child. So when I graduated college, I applied for the Peace Corps. Everything really fell into place. I was graduating college. I was at Miami University of Ohio. So we had a recruiter come to campus when it was around the exact right time for me to be getting started with this journey, it all fell into place. The return Peace Corps volunteer in my area, and like she was like the recruiter, and I kind of became like buddies, as you do with a recruiter, right? Like that. So we kept in touch over the course of like this entire process of me getting like registered for it. And like she didn't have to recruit me. This was something I've always known I was going to do. It was just more of she was more of a resource that was there for me instead of me doing a lot of the heavy lifting and a lot of the heavy research. Um I got into my second place, my second country that of choice. So you can opt to go at random, and just be placed anywhere, or you can opt to select a country. I have always wanted to go to Peru. Peru is a bucket list country for me, so I thought Peru was my number one choice. I didn't get into Peru at all. I ended up getting into my second choice country, which was Moldova, which Moldova is a small Eastern European country. It sits in between the Ukraine and Romania, post Soviet, became an independent country within the past 35 years, type thing. Beautiful country. We could go on for hours about Moldova because I loved my experience in Peace Corps so much that I still to this day just am like I am so okay with the idea of total social collapse because I'm so comfortable living with like the bare minimum after Peace Corps. I loved the fact that all my food was fresh, because it was either we grew it or one of our neighbors grew it. Like I quite literally held a bunny one morning that was dinner. Like I picked out the chickens for dinner kind of thing. Which like I can't do the slaughtering of the animals, but I loved the fact that everything was so farm, like it was literally farm to table. It wasn't even farm to table. It was like just backyard to table. Um, I didn't have any problems with any of the Peace Corps volunteers. There was two girls that I kind of butt heads with. And one of them, it was just like our personalities clashed. It really wasn't. I have no hate in my heart for her. We just didn't get along. And then the other one, we actually became very close friends for a while there at the end. Um, I suspect the issue was she had a crush on my friend, and everyone thought my friend and I were dating. That's my suspicion. That's never been confirmed. But again, like her and I actually became really good friends at the end. I never had an issue with her. Again, it was just like we butt heads. But I was obviously going into Peace Corps anxious about living in a different country, anxious about the language barrier. Within the first couple of weeks of being there, I broke my ankle, so then I ended up not getting the language classes that everyone else got. So my language level is like much lower than a lot of the other volunteers. You have to pass a test at the end of like your 6 week training or 8-10 week training or whatever. Um, you have to pass a test at the end of all of that. And I passed the test, like the language test, to be able to like go on to being the volunteer. So obviously like I passed the test. So I have fine Romanian language skills, but actually um it was funny. I went to Romania with Svetlana and another friend of ours, and they would not speak to me in Romanian. They were like, no, like your Romanian is too Moldovan. Like we cannot understand you. It's almost like if you've ever seen Yellowstone and they have Teeter, the woman wrangler, and they're like, we can't understand a fucking word she's saying because she's from Texas. It's kind of like that's kind of Moldovan, like Romanian is kind of like the Texan, like that really, really like you just was that English? Like, you have no idea what they're saying, kind of rural Texan to like the normal English accent, American English. Um, so yeah, I had really bad Romanian. I spoke Moldovanesh. I did not speak Romanian. Um, but it was yeah, it was I never the times that I was low, the times that were hard for me, the times where I wanted to kind of be done, I was kind of ready to be done, really had nothing to do with Peace Corps. It had to do with, being isolated. Like we really were quite isolated. There were months I would go without seeing another American or like really speak English outside of the English classes that I was teaching. Um, the students were students in this country are kind of well known to be disruptive, disrespectful. They don't really take school seriously in a lot of communities. Um, much like inner city school in America, kind of the same level of like disruption in the classrooms and just kind of lack of respect for teaching and education and whatnot. So like I would be frustrated with the school, with work and with the school and with the students. But again, it was never about being in Moldova. It was never about being in this rural community or the way I was living in this rural community. Um, it was like these tiny little nitpicky things. The worst time of my Peace Corps time was like the months leading up to coming home because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea of what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. Really had this realization that everyone moved on, everyone was living their lives without me, which was so okay. Like that, I was never upset with any of my friends. Danielle and I had this plan. You guys met Danielle in the last episode. We had this long time plan of moving to New York. We were gonna go to New York City. I was gonna go to grad school. She might have been going to grad school. Um, we were gonna live in Astoria. Like we had the subborough picked out of where we wanted to live in New York City, when I came back from Peace Corps. She ended up meeting her husband, while I was gone. So, things like that happened. My sister had grown up a lot. My sister's 11 years younger than me, so she really, I mean, she was 13 when I left and 16 when I came back, kind of thing. It was hard for me to come home because I had nothing lined up and it felt like everyone else was like moving on without me. So I was mourning this fact that like I had achieved my like lifelong dream and I'm 26 years old and I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I knew I didn't want to go back into teaching. I had to figure out what to do next and I had no idea what I wanted to do next. And that was terrifying for me. That was awful for me. I came home in August of 2019. 7 months later, COVID. So I'd gotten a job. I was working with the Boy Scouts. It was a fine job. I mean, it was a job. I could do the work. It was fine. It paid me enough at the time. I it was it it kind of taught me some, workplace skills that I didn't really have yet because I went from like I was working in schools up until that point. I was either working in schools or I was working in like restaurants and I worked at the YMCA. I was a pool manager. Um But other than that, like, I didn't really have any office skills. I didn't really have any, like, workplace office organizational knowledge at that point yet. So that's that job gave me a lot of those skills. Found out I was a really good project manager, kind of got bored. Did that job for almost 2 years, got super bored. Needed to figure out what to do next. Danielle lives in the suburbs of Chicago. At the time, I had another friend that lived in the city of Chicago. Um, so why not quit my job and move to Chicago? It's kind of like New York. It's a big city. It's more accessible to me than New York. It's closer to my family. It's a little bit more affordable. So it was more so that like Chicago was just good enough at the time. I needed to do something. So I just decided to like up and move to Chicago. I mean I like hatched out a plan. It wasn't like, I was living out of my car for 6 months before I found a job in an apartment or anything like that. Like I had a plan, pieces fell into place, but everything was like it was good enough. It was never exactly what I wanted, and everything was a little difficult. Like, it wasn't so difficult to the point that it made me feel like I this wasn't the right step. It wasn't this feeling of dread. It was difficult in a way that it felt like it was a challenge. And it was like a challenge that I needed to, like, conquer. It was just such a different feeling. It was a little displaced, but I had my own space, so my own space felt good. Everything always worked out, but everything has been hard. I've lived paycheck to paycheck. I've made friends, I've lost friends. Frankly, if it wasn't for these 2 women that I met while I was here, I probably wouldn't still be here. Not because I didn't have other friends, but, um, those 2 really became, like, my whole social world and not in a good way. So lot of lessons learned in relationships and friendships and, work-life balance is a huge one that I learned. Like, I kind of really learned that if my job were to disappear, society wouldn't collapse, like, people wouldn't die. So I don't need to be putting that much emotional energy into that work. Like, it doesn't need to consume my life. I learned if you don't like something about somebody at the beginning, it's probably going to be what ends your relationship with them, ends your friendship with them. It just was almost like my will was absolutely being challenged at every turn. It really felt like everything required me to prove myself. And I felt that going into this, actually. Like, I sometimes will get songs I just really feel like is the theme song of my life at this time. And coming to Chicago, it was All Time Low, Weightless, which if you know that song, it's just really like, maybe it's not my weekend, but it's gonna be my year. It really has this energy of, like, nothing's going right, so I'm going to force it to go right. Like, I have to convince myself to stay optimistic. I have to, like, keep working hard to remind myself that everything is going to be okay. And that was my theme song for the entire probably, like, 3 months before I even moved to Chicago. And right now, I don't really have a theme song for this time, come to think of it. Um, I will report back if I come up with one, but I have been listening to a lot of music about letting go, about releasing things that aren't meant for you. So, there's probably something to be said there. Where I am now, if I were to, like, lay out all the things that are happening. Like, I quite literally said the other day to my friend, like, "Let's go see how I can blow up my life today." Um, because that's what I'm doing. Like, I literally feel like everything is blowing up in my life, but I don't care. Like, I don't feel this need to control the explosion or to control the fallout. It just I don't care if I pass or fail. The exam isn't testing anything that I care about anymore. I don't care if this person can't pay this invoice because I didn't reset their password today. I'm gonna reset it tomorrow. Like, I don't care that you've been treating me poorly for several months, if not longer, and you get mad at me because I'm speaking up for myself. Like, yeah, I don't care if me standing up for myself hurts your feelings. I don't care. Like, and maybe that was the test all along. I really feel like everything is falling into place and almost like the universe is kicking my ass to get out of here. Like, let's go. Let's get moving. Like, we know what we want. We know where we're going. Let's do it. Let's go. And it's very night and day from how I felt coming to Chicago. But I never felt like coming to Chicago was wrong idea. I never felt like it was bad. Um because again, like I needed to learn a lot of these lessons. I needed to learn about, like, having friendships that drain you. I needed to learn about biting off more than you can chew. I needed to learn about the fact that, like, you can't give yourself the things that aren't giving anything back to you. I needed to learn those lessons. I really truly did. Um, there has been a time in my life where I followed a path that I know in my gut was not meant for me, and that was going into the military, leaving for basic training. In fact, my entire recruitment process for that was just filled with dread. Um, just I felt chained to this process and this entire experience. Like, and I got nothing out of it. I really got nothing out of being in the military. I got nothing out of it except for it triggered a depressive episode, which, like, ended up getting me diagnosed with my depression. Um, it triggered a lot of trauma that I had stored up from bullying. I still have financial loan, like, student loan debt, like, didn't cover shit for college like it was supposed to. Um, like, cool, every once in a while, I'll remember to, like, pull out my Ohio driver's license that, like, has armed forces on it so I can get a discount. That's literally it. Like, I sometimes get a military discount. I don't even really have didn't make any friends, really. I made one dear friend in the military, Allie, and she, her she we've just kind of fallen out of touch. Like, it's if, like, we're in each other's towns, like, we'll pop by and say hi kind of thing, but we haven't seen each other in years. But I now feel like this is the right decision. I kind of feel this, like, in my gut, that I can have my cake and eat it too. That I have achieved everything that I've ever wanted, so why not want something new? Um, yeah, I feel so confident, I feel so good, I feel appropriately motivated, like, I'm not grinding myself to the bone to get things done, but I'm doing things, like, I'm applying for jobs, I'm, I'm sending the emails, I'm asking the questions. Like I am doing the work. I'm not just like sitting here and letting, you know, fate take the wheel. But I'm not killing myself until I get what I want. Like I'm really just letting things that are meant to be. And I'm finding myself again. Like I've been treating my body super well. I've been eating much better. I'm exercising, but like I'm not exercising with a goal. I'm exercising because I need to stretch out because my like body feels tight. So I'm going to go to a yoga class. I'm like going for a walk because I've been sitting on my couch all day. Like it's not about losing any weight or toning any part of my body. It's more about the act of the movement. Like I feel so good and so intentional in a lot of things that I'm doing. And I'm intentionally connecting to others. I'm making the phone call instead of sending the text. I'm sending the text instead of thinking like, oh, they don't want to hear that. I'm hanging out. Like I'm hanging out with friends. Like I don't need some big to do event in order to see somebody. Like if you just want to come and sit on my couch and watch a television show with me, like let's do it. Um, it's felt good. And I'm learning to slow down. I'm learning to be present in the here and the now. Um, I'm manifesting these best case scenarios, but I'm still, having some contingencies in my back pocket, right? Like, if this falls through, then this is what I'll do. But this is really going to work out. It's so realistic. It's going to happen. Um, but I'm somebody who feels comfortable with a plan. Um, and I'm just really organically falling in to this confidence and this feeling that everything is working out for me. I kind of keep saying it, like, "I'm super lucky, everything works out for me," and I woke up one day feeling that way. It's not that, I'm pounding manifestations into myself or affirmations into my brain. I'm not, um it's quite literally one morning I woke up and I realized everything is working out for me. Everything has always worked out for me. Even when it was hard, it still worked out. It was lessons I needed to learn. I've grown a tougher skin from it. I've learned to not follow a path that feels so dark and heavy. I have learned that sometimes resistance is there to test you and challenge you. Sometimes resistance is there to block you. And you'll know the difference. You'll feel the difference. And I think this is such a woo-woo episode. I'm so sorry. I was going to talk about diet culture, but that just felt kind of heavy after everything that I've been dealing with recently. So I thought this would be fun. And it has been fun, but yeah, I'm really feeling good. I'm really finding peace and I'm really finding myself again. And I know I'm finding myself again. And I feel that I'm finding myself again. Um, I really truly just feel like a completely different person than I did 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 3 months ago. Um, it feels really good. And I'm really excited for this, and I'm really excited to bring you all with me. Um, like I said, things are changing. There's a lot changing around, so we might have a couple different sets. We might have weeks where there's no video at all, but I hope you stay tuned and I hope you follow along on this with me because I'm super excited about it. And I'm super excited to process a lot of things that I'm going to see and experience with y'all. And I'll still bring in my hot topics and my hot takes on things. Don't you worry. Um, but it's gonna be it's gonna be a fun ride.